My very first GT2 race, and it's at Monza. This is going to be scary. If you've ever driven Monza yourself, you know what I mean. Very long straight to start with, followed by a narrow, low-speed chicane. It's a recipe for disaster for at least public lobbies. But we are luckily not in a public lobby, but in an LFM race once again. And so far so good, everyone braking nicely, maybe apart from the Mercedes behind who did bump into me, though I don't know what else was going on there. It's very narrow and a lot of cars, so all good so far. Not the greatest exit out of the chicane, and we are also not in the fastest car. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later. And one Mercedes, make that two Mercedes, make their way past me here, and well, I brake as normal for the next chicane. And what happened here? Well, it seems like he did turn in, so let's take a look from the replay perspective once again. So yes, I didn't get the greatest run, and they are definitely faster than me, but yeah, he is on brakes and turns in. Maybe could have been more to the right, but still. That was 20 seconds of damage, the car totally wrecked, and well, the rest of the race wasn't all that interesting because of that. So we are actually jumping to the next one. Once again at Monza, with a little bit of a different lighting condition, because we are in the evening. So hopefully this is going to be better. Once again, starting somewhat towards the front. Qualifying did go kind of well in both these races. I really like the KTM, it's a really nice driving car. Just has a little bit of trouble with high speeds, so high speed acceleration and also top speed. But other than that, really great car. And look at this, once again turn 1, very clean. There was a little bit of bumping going on behind with the Porsche that you can see in the rearview mirror. But other than that, once again, really nice. And it seems like also the rest of the field made it through there kind of cleanly, at least from what I could tell. The Porsche is kind of looking on the inside, but decides to not go for it. I did outbrake myself a little bit here, so I do cut the chicane. Didn't really gain any time. Actually, the Porsche manages to get on my outside here. And it does turn in quite harshly here, and I didn't really have any space left to go, so that wasn't really nice. He had plenty of space on the outside. So, yeah, I wasn't all too happy about this one, I can tell you. But we actually got to focus on what's ahead, because as you'll be able to see, I should be braking a little bit earlier than I do for this next one. I'm not the only one here. You can see the Maserati going on the inside completely, well, way too late on brakes, but I also was too late, bump a little bit into the back of the Porsche. We all go over the grass and gravel here, and well, I get the worst of it and park it, basically, at the exit of Ascari. You can see here, definitely my fault. I did brake too late. So yeah, that was definitely not nice. And I really get weird bumps over the grass here, and the car slides out and I park it in the wrong direction. Back up onto the track, a little bit too far in my opinion, but it's all good. It seems like everyone was able to avoid. And we are going once again. So once again, a race where I started in the front and I'm now quite far in the back actually, which is not great. But at least this time we don't have much damage. So that's something, and maybe we can still make something happen here. So let's see. I could have started from the back in the first place, but yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It happens. By the way, that Maserati seemed like he did close the door on me, like I was very much on the inside. Don't know why he didn't leave me more room there. He should have been able to see from his radar that I was still there. So really unnecessary contact in that corner, but yeah. Once again, just minor damage, so we are still going. And yeah, the goal now is to get as far as possible through the field with, well, the time that we have left, which is once again, well, now 22 minutes left. It's a 25-minute race. Once again, just a short special event by LFM to get going in the GT2s. And, well, maybe, I think I did brake early enough for this one, but not early enough considering that there were cars in front of me. It's a little bit tricky in the KTM, I have to say, and I really haven't talked about that at all. So we are in the KTM Crossbow GT2. As I said, really fun car, but it has that problem at, well, acceleration and top speed. And also, well, that's not really a problem. It's actually a strength of the car. It can brake quite a lot later than most other GT2s. Partly because it's not as fast, but also because the brakes are really good and the car is very light. So, while in other GT2s, I, for example, tried the Audi on this track, you need to brake so much earlier than in the GT3s. In the KTM, you actually don't need to brake that much earlier. A little bit earlier than GT3s for most corners, but mostly you can almost take the braking points that you would take in GT3s, which is kind of interesting. And I once again do that here, and yeah, it's a little bit tricky because you have to always keep in the back of your head the other GT2s are going to brake earlier than you do. You do have the better braking power, but you need to be careful because you can still bump into the back of them. So something I definitely needed to learn here. And well, I am in this position at the back of the field because of my own mistake. So you can see other people also making mistakes and, well, going through the shortcut there because they kind of missed the chicane apparently. So we did gain a couple of positions here. Still have that Maserati behind, but we are so far at least getting through the field somewhat. And still I'm trying to get to grips with just, yeah, trying to get the car around the track as I was doing before in qualifying and a little bit of practice that I did before. But in a race it's always a little bit different. So yeah, I really needed to get to grips with it, and I once again make a big mistake here. I was a little bit too far to the left, or well, I was a little bit too fast and just clipped the grass on the outside a tiny bit. And that was enough for the car to say, nope, I don't have any grip on anymore and I'm just gonna spin around. So once again, we find ourselves at the back of the field, almost at the very back, second to last. So yeah, my plans to go as far as possible through the field, it's not gonna be all that great. We still have over 19 minutes left in this race, so there is still a possibility to get a somewhat decent position, but it's not gonna be amazing. Let's say it like that. But the race is still gonna be interesting. So yeah, I wanted to show you this one. As I said, the first race wasn't all that interesting after that crash because I really didn't have any chance of competing even with the back of the field anymore. I did gain a couple of positions, but I was so far off pace, like 1 or maybe even 2 seconds because of the damage that the car had, that it was really hard to compete with anyone else. So this race was better in that regard because we have just minor damage and we can compete. It's a little bit difficult, I have to say, in the KTM, but that is because of the missing top speed. So even if you get a good exit out of corners, by the way, look at this nice double overtake. They did make quite a mistake there, but I was kind of happy that I managed to get through there without touching anyone, so it was kind of ridiculous in my opinion. But yeah, the KTM definitely needs to play to its strength, and that's on brakes and in the corners. It's a really nice handling car, but especially here on the main straight, I've always had a lot of trouble with people in other cars just being faster in terms of acceleration and top speed, and you really need to be way ahead of them to stay ahead of them, especially if they then also get slipstream from behind you. It's difficult in this car. But I still like it. As I said, I tried all the cars. You may have seen that video. If not, it's on my channel and I can link it for you. So I kind of have a general idea of how the cars drive, and I, for this track, also tried the Audi GT2. And it's also a fun one, but in the end I decided on the KTM because I really like it. It's a little bit of an underdog maybe, and you really also need to drive it with a setup that has basically no rear wing, so no rear aero, because you really need as much top speed as you can get away with. So that's what I did for the setup. But other than that, still other GT2s, if they are set up in a proper way and are driven well, you don't have any chance on the straight in this car. I think it will shine on other tracks. I will try to find that out in the coming weeks, because I really do enjoy driving the KTM Crossbow and the GT2s in general. It's a nice class in my opinion. I mean, the GT3s are always fun, and I also like the GT4s, but yeah, for some reason I really enjoy the racing that I've had so far. Even though these 2 races that I've had weren't the greatest in terms of results, they were still fun. Even the first one where I had damage, it was still fun to fight with some people. I just didn't have much chance of actually gaining positions. But yeah, it was fun. What is not fun is doing stupid things like this. Let's take a look at the replay once again, because I really didn't say much of what was happening. You can see here, once again, too fast. You sometimes have to be really careful with how you push the GT2s into corners. They have less aero and they have less grip. So you need to be very careful, and if you just drive like you are maybe used to from the GT3s, which happened to me sometimes, you can go too far to the outside. And once again I did touch the grass or even the gravel a little bit there, and well, just spun me around. I wasn't the only one, as you maybe did see. The other KTM also had the same problem, it seemed like. And well, that means that we are once again a couple of places back. So not the greatest race in terms of driving by me, but still a fun one in terms of fighting. So did get overtaken once again here, but I'm still trying to make something happen. I think I do have a little bit more damage now because of what happened there. And yeah, you can see here, I'm not flashing, by the way. It's something that you could do in ACC to let other people know that you're coming. I'm not doing that here. If I'm stamping the brakes now with the damage that I have, the lights actually flicker and go out intermittently. It's kind of ridiculous. And maybe the guys in front were like, what is this guy doing? Why is he flashing me all the time? I'm not. It's just a broken car. And here's another broken car. I think this was the other KTM that had the problem where I did spin. And you can see here, while braking, I once again have flickering lights. And well, I think the guy in front also has some damage, so maybe we can make something happen. We do have another Maserati behind though, and he is faster on the straight. You can see easily pulls alongside, and I have someone in front of me, so this is gonna be a little bit dangerous. I brake kind of late, and the Maserati decides to, I can brake as late as you can. He can't, and he goes wide. I don't know why the other KTM that turned in like that. But yeah, I think I was fairly on his inside, so I think the move by me was fine. I also had to avoid the Maserati there, so yeah, not quite sure. But we actually managed to overtake both of them. You can see here even more when I brake, the lights flickering. It was kind of ridiculous, I have to say. But yeah, other than my poor driving in this race, the GT2s are a lot of fun, and I hope they will get more popular than they are right now. I think there aren't that many people interested in them so far, at least from what I've seen. But I hope that they will be more popular, because I think it's a fun class to race. As I said in my previous video showcasing the GT2s, they are faster in straight line, and you can see that at Monza. If you get a good lap together, you can be faster here than a GT3. Which is ridiculous, but it's just because Monza is a top speed track with the long straights. Yeah, it's something where the GT3s just can't compete, at least in terms of speed. On other tracks, the GT2s are definitely slower because, as I said, lower downforce and also just, I think, less mechanical grip. You can definitely feel that they aren't as nimble in the corners as the GT3s are. Though a lot more nimble and a lot faster than the GT4s. So it's a nice addition, I think, to ACC to have this category, because it's something a little bit different but still familiar enough for people that used to or are used to racing GT3s. And well, in the end, in this race, you can see a lot of people already finished and a lot of people are leaving, so don't take the position that you see in the top left at face value. But I actually finished in P17, I believe, overall, which was still okay for what happened to me in this race. But yeah, overall definitely can improve and hopefully will. This was just a special event, as I said, where LFM just hosted this to, well, have something going since the GT2 DLC just released and people can try these cars out. there is going to be a regular season on Low Fuel Motorsport for the GT2s as well, and I'm definitely interested in also partaking in that and yeah, having some nice races hopefully. We will see. I also want to try to make it to more GT3 races and GT4s as well. Let me know what you want to see. It's definitely also something that I'm interested in. By the way, you're seeing in the background now my best qualifying lap. You can see this car has the pace, like you could see from both starting positions in those races. I am able to go fast here, but I think I'm still missing a little bit of racecraft to actually be able to race properly and safely. Definitely in the second race that you were able to see here, I did make a big mistake and caused a collision. I paid the price for that, both in terms of position on track and also getting a penalty afterwards, which is deserved, no question about that. But yeah, overall, I think this race was still interesting and fun to watch. At least I hope so. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you're interested in more GT2 racing, I can definitely provide you with that. Or if you'd rather see some more GT3 or even GT4, let me know. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, feel free to do so if you enjoy these kind of multiplayer highlights. And other than that, I just want to thank you a lot for watching. I've been HD Racing. See you next time.